There we go.
Good afternoon. That's me. Hi, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, both of you. Welcome, Startup Nation. October 8th, Tuesday, October 8th, big day. Today starts the Literary Arts Festival for St. George. We'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about lots of stuff with the Literary Arts Festival. We have two of certainly the most colorful guys I've had on the show in a long time. I can't wait to be banned from this airwaves here. It's going to happen. A couple of things coming up, of course. October 12th, Saturday, October 12th, Spooky Town. Bring the kids. It's at the Town Square in St. George, put on by the St. George Area Chamber of Commerce. October 18th, Mall Fest. If you've ever been to Street Fest, we're taking Street Fest and putting it over in the parking lot of the JCPenney building right outside. That'll start same time, 6 p.m. It's the third Friday. Bounce houses, rock climbing, beer and wine garden, all the things that shouldn't be put together at the same time. Outdoors. What could possibly go wrong? It'll be great. And then October 11th and 12th is Friday and Saturday, comedy night at the New West Village, which is Affogato West, 214 North 1000 East. Alex Ansel, Comedy Central, Treasure Island Casino. They call him Kool-Aid. He's like 800 pounds. The guy's huge. He's hilarious. Tickets are $10 or special deal, 2 for $20. Did you like that? That's a little joke. Don't give up my day job. I know. So that's 8 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. Tickets are available. You can go to Eventbrite. I think it's called Comedy Night with Alex Ansel, or look up West Village. Tickets are $10. And then, of course, today starts, October 8th, starts the St. George Literary Arts Festival. With me today are the mighty Chris Jones and Dennis Feehan. Good Irish names on the board for the Literary Arts Festival. This is the second year we're doing this?
Second annual, yes, sir.
And
Tell
tell us a little bit about this event, how you got involved, how you ended up from L.A. to here. That's, to me, as a New Yorker, that's more interesting than anything, how people end up in what I call witness protection.
Yeah, well, actually, I live in Mesquite.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Chris lives up here in St. George, and
Gotcha.
we both grew up in L.A. We both lived in Simi Valley and never knew each other. I
LA's
retired.
a little bigger than St. George. So.
Yeah. So I retired, and I wanted to go somewhere where there wasn't a lot of traffic.
Gotcha.
And so,
Hey, buddy, you came to the right place.
yeah. You?
We just got real tired of the commute and the traffic, and decided to put ourselves kind of in the middle between all of our kids. Got some up in Salt Lake, some in Vegas, and some down on Upland on I-15. So we're on this I-15 corridor.
Yeah, that's kind of how I ended up here. I got a son up in Idaho with his wife. I got a son down at dental school in Arizona. So it's kind of halfway.
Yeah,
you
in
know?
the middle.
But it's beautiful here. To me, it's like no other area of Utah. Snow, pine, palm trees.
Yeah,
That's exactly how it is.
Yeah. Weather's perfect all the
That's
time.
awesome.
desert tortoise.
I wish it was a little closer to the beach. The walk is longer.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so Literary Arts Festival, year 2. How did this get started? Why do they do it? I mean, obviously, literary arts, very important. You know, kids, I wish my kids read more, but they don't.
Well, this started as a restart of the book festival that used to take place here in St. George, and it kind of went away. But Sue Leth, who's our chairperson,
Who's just a fireball.
she is a fireball.
That woman
Yeah.
never stops.
It is true, and so. Yeah, we get emails from her all day long and text messages, and geez, give me a break. But so Sue really wanted to get it back going, but she really wanted to focus more on writing and reading rather than just books and selling books.
Sure.
So that's what we do, both in our Heritage Writers Guild, which is one of the sponsors, of which I'm the president.
So you both write.
We both are
Yes.
writers. Yes, I'm better than him, but that's to be expected.
Fight.
I don't know.
He disagreed. Yeah, I'm the president. Be quiet.
Wow.
He's definitely funnier.
I'll leave you two alone for a minute.
But I
Work
could bring
this
a
out.
tear to your eye.
Yes, he can. He's that bad of a writer.
Oh, here we go. This is-
Thanks, Dennis.
Yeah, I'm here to help, man.
I like you
So,
guys.
so what she wanted to do was have a festival. It's free to the public.
Sure.
There's no charge. We would like you to register on our website, St.
Which
George.
is?
It's St. George Literary Arts Festival 2019. Be sure and put the year in, otherwise you get last year and you'll be hooking up
So
with the wrong
St. George. So I have on here stgeorgelitArtFest.org. Is that the main website?
That is the main website, and the best way to get there is to Google it.
Google it. Gotcha.
Just Google St. George Literary Arts Festival. Make sure you go under 2019 because there's older stuff from previous years.
For those of you who don't know what Google is, it's on the internet.
Yeah.
I doubt there's anybody.
It involves
Wow.
tubes and wires
Maybe in
and
a
stuff.
yeah. Gotcha. Lots of tubes and wires.
And when you go on there, it's going to say register, which is free. And then down below, Chris, tell him what's at the bottom. You're the expert on this stuff.
Are you the webmaster?
He's the web guy. Well, he and Amanda.
No, Amanda.
Amanda is
One of our she's much younger than us. She's the one that is the webmaster.
Amanda Pearson?
No, it's Amanda Empey.
MP.
Yeah.
But tell him all the cool stuff at the bottom.
Well,
When you scroll down.
if you go past the registration button,
Right.
you're going to see the schedule.
Okay.
Okay, for this week,
Which
which
we'll talk about.
Yeah, you're going to see what's going on Saturday, the entire workshop for Saturday, and then you'll see a place where you can.
Got author tables down there.
Yeah, if you've got books you're trying to push, we can help you with that. We have a button for authors, author tables.
So I'd imagine writing and publishing has changed immensely over the years. It used to be you'd write a book and try and take it to some publisher in New York, and he'd turn you down flat, right?
Yeah, well, that's what they do with my stuff now. So that hasn't changed a lot. But
You can self-publish
Yes.
so easily these days compared to even 10 years ago.
no, it's correct. And we have a couple of people during the week and also at our Saturday that we'll be talking about options for publishing. And in some cases, self-publishing is a really good deal. Sometimes you can get into a little more expense than you wanted to. So these people are going to tell you more about that.
Sure, and I'd imagine, like anything else, it's what you make of it. I mean, if you're not good with social media and the internet and stuff like that, then self-publishing probably is not for you because that's where it all takes place. I mean, the internet.
Yeah.
There's a guy I listen to. He's a big internet guru. I won't even mention his name because I mention it all the time and people get mad at me. His name's Gary Vaynerchuk. Anyway,
I'm so mad at you right now.
I know.
Yeah.
But he says
I'm
the
fuming.
internet it just exposes you. If you're good at something, it makes you better. If you suck at it, it makes you worse,
Yeah.
And
It's like a microphone.
yeah, exactly. Like Bill Cosby used to say, he's just had friends that did cocaine. He goes, it enhances your personality. What if you're an a-hole? So,
Well, you're twice as bad.
yeah,
That's
just twice as
great.
bad. So, but it is, if you're good at marketing and that sort of stuff, then the internet is great for people that self-publish, and it, like Amazon, they have all the lists of people that self-publish and where that book sits and how popular it is and stuff, and it's a chess game just like anything else. You really got to work it. You just can't sit like 20 years ago when you were trying to get in with the big publishers. You couldn't just take one no and be done. You had to keep going, like anything.
Yeah, and you still need to do that today. But with the self-publishing, and these folks that are going to be speaking on it are experts. I'm not
Sure.
an expert on
Gotcha.
it. But they're going to give you websites that work well, editors that might be interested in your stuff, and they're going to give you a strategy so that you can get some of your stuff out there. And, of course, until you get it out there, you can't get any more out there.
So if you're a writer, you want to be at this festival.
Yes, because not only are they talking about publishing, we've got a poetry leg, so there's 4 workshops on poetry. We've got the publishing one. What else do we have?
Fiction, screenwriting.
Fiction, screenwriting, and
Also known as every relationship I've ever been in.
yeah,
Fiction.
yeah.
Uh,
But these are
Comedy, tragedy.
these are all experts. These are,
Nonfiction, memoir.
oh yes, nonfiction
that's
and
the
memoir,
fourth
because there's a lot of folks out there who are writing memoirs.
Biographies.
Yeah, nonfiction.
Autobiographies, yeah, family histories. I mean, that
Oh,
kind of
I
thing.
can bet you got a lot of that in Utah.
You do.
Sure.
Here's the problem with it, though. You can write those things, but unless you know what you're doing, no one's ever going to read it. So we've got some people coming to tell us how to do that.
Sure.
Right. And they're going to give you professional advice because these are all award-winning authors. They're folks who have been around for a long time doing what they do, and you're going to get advice from them that helps you write better and eliminate the rookie mistakes that we all start out making. And these folks are going to, and there's 16 workshops, and then we have how many during the week? 4 or 5,
Another
I think.
5, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on the schedule, I see.
Yeah.
So now the Heritage Writers Guild, one of the big sponsors of the festival. What's their story? Tell me more about what you do with these guys.
Okay, well, and I'm the president for this year of the Heritage Writers Guild, and it's a chapter of the League of Utah Writers, which is a state organization of writers. And it's $30 a year is what it costs. It's negligible. And what we offer is, it's all over the state, but what we offer here in St. George at the library, we offer critique groups, which are friendly. Chris, have you ever heard anybody negative on any of those?
Other than you, no.
No, that's a good point. but it's really supportive. And so you come in and you bring copies of what you've written and you share it with those folks. You read it. And while you're reading it, the folks are making notes on what they loved and what they thought might need a little extra work. And then there's a conversation about what you did and what they thought you could improve on or what they thought was really great. And then you go home, and Chris and I were just talking about that. You go home and you update yours based on, I would say at least 50% are really good ideas.
Sure.
The other ones you're not really thrilled about.
Well, it's good to have input from people that have been doing it, or you're following in their footsteps, and they say, "Well, I tried this, it didn't work. Don't try it this way," kind of thing.
That's exactly right. So we have one every Wednesday at 1:00 at the library, and then
It's the main library.
the Tabernacle, right? We're at the big library next to the courthouse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the
yes,
one.
and then
That's 100 South. Sorry.
100 South is correct. So and then the last Tuesday of every month we have a nighttime one from 6 to 7:30. So if folks
So
are working,
beer and wine.
that's after, but yeah. But that way, if folks are working, because the Wednesday one's at 1:00, and so those of us who are retired can go, but not everyone can go 1:00.
Right.
So we do that. We also have contests. They're like $3 or $4 to enter a piece.
And what does that do?
Well, it does a couple things. We have one that sets you up for the big one. So in ours, we're just going to we pay judges to read them. They don't know who these people were. They don't have names. They just read it and they score them. And what that tells you is you get some feedback and you understand what's good and what's bad about what you did.
Right.
And what's cool about that is at the end of the year, more around September is right. The league in Salt Lake City has a annual conference, and there you actually get cash prizes and you get
Shiny awards.
You get a shiny award. You get cash prizes if you come in first, second, or third, and then they have an anthology, and some of those go into the anthology, so you actually get published that way too.
I got a paper certificate from the Heritage Writers Guild. It's on my refrigerator.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
We
We should talk about the categories. I mean,
I'm sure there's lots of different
including
categories.
flash fiction.
Yes, flash fiction. Some people may not know that, but flash fiction is a short story in 2 or 3 pages, so 1,000 words, maybe 1,500
Really?
words. Yes, and it's very, very
Is
popular.
that kind of new? Is that a new thing? 'Cause
It's not terribly new, but it hasn't been going for decades or anything.
Sure.
And those are really fun. There's a number of poetry things. One of them that I did well in was one that they give you words, and you have to write a poem that makes sense using words. And this one had octopus, okra, perselfitude. I had to look up some of the stuff. I'm serious. I had to look them up to find out what do these words even mean. So that's a challenge. So that's fun.
You lost me at octopus. That was my nickname in high school. The girls hated me.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And there's a nonfiction
It
and
takes me a
fiction.
little while.
The sad thing was I
but
went to an
catch
all-boy
on.
Catholic high school. It was even harder to get that
Whoa.
name. So,
I did too. Well,
hello.
I was in a Catholic high school, but it was boys on this side and girls
Yeah,
on
not
that side.
mine. Not mine. We had to take a bus to get to the girls' school.
Well, we had to go through metal,
worth the 75
metal
cents.
detectors. So, anyway, there's a lot of categories, both in prose and in poetry, and and also for new writers, there's a section for them too. So and the competition is pretty fierce, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah,
That's
it
awesome.
goes deep too. I mean, they have where you submit the first chapter of a novel, so it's not just a poem or a short story. It can be 20, 30 pages.
So do they take a lot of that and incorporate it into the Literary Arts Festival? Do they do any of that? Do they recognize people that have been involved in that?
No,
or-
they're a supporter of it, but they're not working on it with us yet.
Gotcha. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I like stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's friendly competition. Some people don't like competition, and these days everybody gets a trophy. But
Well, not there. Not there. Actually,
No,
again, these
no.
are judged by people who don't see your name and don't know who wrote what. And so it's a fair test of, how good is your piece. And they give you feedback on it, too. So they'll say, hey, I really like this or I didn't like that. And these are from professional writers, so it helps there, too.
now, how long have you guys been writing? I mean, what did you do for a living? And at what point did you decide, I'm going to start writing stuff?
Well, I've been a musician and a songwriter
Right.
since the late 70s. I've sold 0 songs so far, so I'm still working on that first million.
You're just getting going. It's
Yeah,
okay.
just getting rolling.
I feel your pain, brother.
He's
Right.
getting in the groove.
But I had
He's getting
an,
He's getting in the
I had an office job as a customs broker for an aerospace firm, and then when I retired, I did some writing.
Do you play an instrument?
I play keyboards and guitar.
Guitar. Yeah, do you know how you know when a guitar player is homeless? When his girlfriend breaks up with him. It's- yeah, you have to be a guitar player to understand that. Anyway, so true. Anyway,
Wow.
Yeah. Well, what did I do? I retired out of Cal State University Northridge. I was a teacher.
Oh,
there.
boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I taught accounting and information systems software development.
so you're a party animal.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would in secret
Yeah.
write, and then eventually I decided after I retire maybe I should come and get some feedback on it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what do you have a prize writing that you've ever done? I mean, something that you're so proud of that like your favorite piece. What type of literary works do you do? What kind of things do you write?
Yeah, I did some nonfiction. So the first book that I ever co-authored, to me, that's my favorite piece.
So you co-authored it.
Yeah, and that was a book on business communication.
Oh, okay.
So it was on business writing.
Which would make sense because that was your
Yeah,
background, right?
So, but probably the thing that I've done most recently that was kind of fun was I also co-authored an accounting novel. So this is a guy that's an accountant who is a detective that's going to solve the case.
Isn't there a
that's
TV
for
show like
classroom
that?
use.
Isn't there
Yeah.
numbers or something?
No, but there
You guys
will
are-
be after his
Yeah,
novels.
Oh,
come out.
clearly.
Yeah.
NCIS accounting.
Yeah. So that was kind of fun to me.
Starring Chris Jones.
The new Columbo.
That's fabulous.
That's great. And what kind of writing do you do?
Well, I write songs, of course,
Right.
and I write poetry and I write short stories. Most of the poetry and short stories are comical. They're humorous.
Good.
So a poem I wrote called "The Manual" is about a guy building something without using the manual, and of course everything
That
goes
never
wrong.
happens with
No.
guys.
And then at the end, he looks it up in the manual and goes, "Oh."
That's awesome.
I wrote another one about a story about a woman who was a switchboard operator on the day after the stock market crash in 1929, and she doesn't even know what that even means.
Right.
And so they're training her, and her boss comes in and gives them a list of people who've jumped off the buildings.
Yeah.
So she goes, okay. So the lady calls in and says, "Hey, I'm Mrs. Williams. I want to talk to my husband." And she goes, "Oh, wait a minute. No, he jumped. He's done."
It's probably very close to the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she wins in the end, so yay for that.
That's awesome. So you said switchboard operator. I'm showing my age. I thought Lily Tomlin immediately.
Yes. That same board with
Yeah.
pulling the things in and out.
Too
And
funny.
Yeah. What's the switchboard?
Please
please, he knows.
ask your dad.
Yeah.
So now, have you had any of your works published?
Well, 6 of them. I've got works in 5 anthologies, published in 5 anthologies, and it's probably going to go on the 6th one now.
So,
which
in an
is-
anthology, I mean, it's a collection of different writers.
That's
basically,
right, and it's through the Utah League and also from Cal State Northridge, where we both graduated, although I didn't teach there. I'm in one of their anthologies as well.
And so they're published, what happens to them? How do they market something like that? Is it self-published? Is it going through one of the bigger publishers? And then who's reading it?
Well,
I mean, you hope everybody, right?
yeah, no, they self-publish it, and they sell it at on their website, and they sell it at the annual convention. So folks that want to read it, I guess, but everybody that's in it buys it, so that's important.
Yeah.
I got them all lined up.
Oh, sure. And you see your stuff in print, of course, you're going to get all your friends, all your relatives, and everybody gets one for Christmas.
You bet.
You know?
You bet.
Exactly.
Yeah, the stuff that I did was mostly nonfiction.
Sure.
And so it was published with major houses like Prentice Hall and Carolina Academic Press, some of their bigger houses.
And how long ago did you start doing this?
Back in the 80s.
Gotcha.
I started
Before the internet.
before the internet. Yeah, yeah.
Tougher, would you say? Was it tougher then? Or did you know any better?
There really wasn't any alternative.
Right.
If you wanted to get anything published, unless you're doing mimeograph, you had to go with a big publisher. And it's pretty long and involved process. I mean, you submit the thing, and then 2 years later,
They chop it up.
comes out. I mean, it just takes forever to go through the editorial process and publication process.
Come a long way.
Yeah.
Come a long way. So the two of you, obviously, you have a love for writing and stuff, and this festival really focuses on that. It sounds like it gives the ability for people to really who have a love for this and maybe have never done it to find out how to do it, and people that are doing it, like you guys, maybe find a little jewel, a little gem that you can take and hone your skills, right?
That is exactly right. And that's what I found, that you get much, much better really fast when you go to these kinds of conferences, because you're getting a lot of feedback and a lot of information from folks that have been doing it and making money at it and doing a good job. So that the conference that we have up in Salt Lake annual, it does that, and this does that as well. And we can go through it, but there's an awful lot of material that if you're writing out there, this is where to go. Come to this, and it's free, and we will give you some information that it's just golden.
So let's talk about that for a second. It's free. How do you get funding for something like this? Is not cheap to bring these speakers in. They don't say, "Oh, you're doing the same thing I do. I love you. I'll do it for free."
We mentioned Sue, right? Sue Leth.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say.
She's the grant lady.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah. She's our grant writer, and she's really good at it.
Yep.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Yeah.
She knows where they are. She knows which ones are available to us, and she's persistent. So we get grant money from the state and the city and library system, those kinds of things, and we get some donations as well. And then, of course, Chris is the budget guy, so we have to make sure that we stay within what we've got, so that we don't go in the red. We're able to stay a little bit in the black.
Right.
We're not getting rich. We're not trying to.
Right.
But we don't want to cost anybody any money. So Sue is instrumental in bringing us grant money.
Yeah, you just want to make sure you have enough to make this happen.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
So first year was last year. How many people came out?
100?
There's about 100.
Yeah,
That's cool.
100.
Yeah.
That's cool.
For our first time out, and we didn't know marketing as well as
Right.
we do this year, and we expect to
You learn.
Yeah, we're
You learn.
learning.
And
We did a little better.
We had about 60 pre-registrants, so the people pre-registering. This year we have 200 already.
That's awesome.
So,
Yeah.
So obviously you learned something, right?
Yeah.
Right, and
Yeah.
part of it.
You get your knees scabby, you go, okay, let's not do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Well, and we're writers; we're not marketers.
Right.
So, and that's part of what was maybe a little lacking last year, and we're doing a better job this year, and we hope to do better even in the future. And you're a great example of that. We weren't on the radio last year. We weren't on YouTube and Facebook, and now
Well,
we
I
are.
think it's great. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just, like you say, you're not you have a love for this. This isn't your forte, and you learn what works and what doesn't, and you come back the next year and you go, all right, let's bring in somebody that does this, or let's try this, and hopefully
Yeah.
it works. And obviously you're doing something. If you go from 100 and you only have 100 last year, and you already have 200 signed up, it's going to be maybe 300-400 people that actually come out. You know?
Because we
Yeah.
get a lot of walk-ins, folks that weren't sure. They didn't want to register because they weren't sure if they would be able to make it, and then they can, so they come out. And hey, if you're out there and you didn't register, or you don't have time to, come on down. You're
Yeah,
welcome.
it's still free.
Yeah, it's still free.
See, that's awesome.
yeah.
That's
We want to
For
help
those of you who can't afford free,
Yeah, you should be able to. should be able to.
We have about a minute and a half before we go to our break here. What are some of the things that you've added from last year? What are some of the big things that people are going to be looking for in this? And then we'll come back and we're going to break down the schedule.
My
of events and
favorite. At lunchtime, the puppet show. Come on, folks, out on the pavilion. What's the lady's name? I don't remember her name.
Penelope Toribio.
Yeah, what he said.
Yeah.
And she's going to be doing a puppet show, and she also sings a little country along with her cowboy puppet. So come down and see it. That's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
And it's free.
That is
free.
Very cool. And Chris, do you have any favorites?
I'm just thrilled that we have a book launch. I mean, one of the key things in the life of an author is getting a book out the door. Today, Terry Tempest Williams is doing a book launch. This is that first day the book's actually available in the stores or in Kindle format.
So it's an unveiling of
It
sorts.
is an unveiling.
Sure.
We didn't have that last year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. One more time, website, at least on here it says stgeorgelitArtsFest.org, or you can just Google St. George Literary Arts Festival 2019.
Yes, thank you.
Do you do anything on social media, any Instagram, any Facebook?
Well, we have a Facebook.
All right.
We do have a Facebook page.
Yeah,
All right,
it's
we'll-
pretty much a mirror of what we do on the
Yeah,
Gotcha.
but the web page is better.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back to that. St. George Literary Arts Festival 2019, the theme Turn the Page. We'll talk about schedule of events, how you can get tickets and pre-register for that. We'll be back here in 30 seconds, everybody. Stick around.
So I've been thinking about getting a stand-up paddle.
All right, we are back, everybody. Startup Nation, I have the ever-energetic Chris Jones and Dennis Feehan, board members for the St. George Literary Arts Festival, which is taking place today, October 8th, through Saturday, October 12th. And Chris was just saying he's upset that the waves don't break as close to the shore here.
I'm waiting for the big one.
Yeah, well, don't worry. Apparently, if you ask anybody in this town, it's coming at some point. So
Yeah, it is.
It is coming.
And Utah will be beachfront.
my dad, who's still in New York, is convinced that at some point Reno will be the West Coast, and everything west of that will be in the ocean. And currently, to him, the West Coast is Columbus, Ohio, anyway. So
Yeah.
he is not coming. He'll come out to visit, but he won't stay long. He won't stay long. So we're gonna go over stuff that you've got going on. I need to put on my cheaters here for schedule of events. tonight, 7 to 9 p.m., opening keynote speaker Terry Tempest Williams, book launch of Erosion, Essays of Undoing, and that'll be at DSU's Jeffrey R. Holland Building, Zion Room 537. So tell me a little bit, how do you select these people?
Well, Terry Tempest Williams is a award-winning, multi-book selling author, and she's also an environmentalist activist, and that's what I haven't read this book because it just comes out today, but Erosion, Essays of Undoing tells me that it's got to have some environmental impact. And,
Sure.
But she's a very, very famous, well-known, the list of awards on the internet is like 4 inches long. I mean, it's just
That's
huge,
awesome.
all the stuff that she's
One
done.
of her houses is here in the Utah area.
Gotcha.
She grew up down here in up in Salt Lake, but down in this area down here. Her mom was a downwinder.
Oh, yeah.
And she wrote a book about that.
The downwinder
refuge
thing,
about downwinder, and it was pretty powerful.
Now, how do you find people like this? I mean, obviously somebody must read her work, or she's well known among writers.
Exactly.
Did we ever say Sue's name before?
I was just-
Sue left.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Sue says, guess who we have this year? Who, Sue?
It's funny. I'll be sitting in Ernie Deuce's office at Arts Incorporated, and Sue will pull up, and I go, Sue, everybody look sharp. Sue's here.
Yeah.
Run!
She showed up in her black sequin outfit today. I'm like, oh, she is ready for bear tonight.
Yeah.
Looking good, Sue.
It's true.
She never goes anywhere without being dressed up.
I have noticed that.
Yeah.
I have noticed that.
Yeah.
So that's tonight, 7 to 9 p.m. What can we expect? What are we doing today?
Well, there's a couple of things. There's a contest that we have one in Mesquite. They have one up here. The St. George one's more prestigious and larger, but it's poets and artists. So what happens is the poets turn in poetry to the board, and then artists pick one that they really think they can do a nice rendition of in a painting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So yeah, and it's remarkable what the artists are able to pull out of the poems and put into their artwork. So that contest finishes tonight in the Zion Room just outside.
So they'll be on display.
They'll be on display.
6 o'clock.
Yeah, at 6 o'clock, and the awards will be given, and that's for the first hour, and then Terry Tempest Williams is going to speak about her new book from 7 to 9. So it's going to be a fun evening.
That is very cool. And
Yeah.
I'd imagine she'll have books on hand, and
Yes, there
She
will be
There'll
books.
be a book signing afterwards.
Right.
very cool.
So if you buy it, Terry Tempest Williams is going to stay and sign them. So that's wonderful.
And that's in the DSU Jeffrey R. Holland Building, which is also where the library is on campus.
Yeah.
That's
Have you
correct.
been up to the Zion Room?
I have not. I'm not.
Gorgeous.
I'm not allowed near college kids. This is the
It's
only
like
one.
it's up on the top. It's on the top. It's all glass. Overlooks.
That's a beautiful building.
Yeah, overlooks
So, and
St.
now
George.
the only other building that's going to overshadow it is the new Human Performance Center, which is right across the street from it. There, that new one they're building with
Okay.
the top of the wall. They got a track up top, and then you can run down inside, and you can run back outside on top of the building. There's a pool. It's quite a building, and I'm pretty sure now it's the tallest building in St. George.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
It's a huge building if you've not driven down there.
No,
But
I
yeah, the Jeffrey R. Holland building is a beautiful building. So
Well, that one is, and the Zion Room is spectacular, as Chris was saying. It's glass walled, so as you walk in, you just see this spectacular view of St. George.
That's awesome.
It's beautiful, and so that's really going to be a nice place.
So that's tonight, and you've got to register. They want you to register for this, and
But we'll take walk-ins.
okay. So
Yeah.
if you're lazy like me and you want to just go and check it out, show up 6:30, whatever, and it should be good. That is tonight, 7 to 9 p.m. Tomorrow, you've got a reading. Naomi Sawyer and Chuck Sale from 6 to 7 p.m. So most of these things are in the evening, I'm guessing.
Yes, and,
During the week. Yeah.
and these two are kind of cute. Naomi is a young woman who is real energetic, and Chuck Sale is a police officer who's kind of stayed, and they have written some stuff together, and they do the reading,
Really?
and it's really, really entertaining.
Now, are they locals?
No. Naomi's from Arizona and Chuck's from Colorado, so they're coming in from out of town.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And that's the 5 secrets to reading and writing. So obviously they're going to give some knowledge on what to do and their
Yes.
little pearls of wisdom.
And that's at the main library.
88 West 100 South. Again, it's right next to the courthouse. Don't ask me how I know.
He knew
Right.
about the courthouse. It was
did.
a surprise that the library was
Yes.
next door.
I had no idea. That's where I go and call for a ride home from the courthouse. So, cool. And that's 6 to 7 p.m. And it says that they're doing a reading. So they're going to actually read from the excerpts from their book.
Exactly
Well, actually,
correct.
they're going to be talking about reading and writing.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're trying to cover all the bases, not just writers, but the people that are interested in deep reading,
Sure.
understanding what they read, making sense of poems like I could never do.
Yeah, that's
in
difficult.
high school or even later in life.
There's something to be said to reading with a highlighter in your hand,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a black one.
Black. Wow. Is that how you read his stuff? Is that how you,
Just crossing it
out,
off.
out, out.
Yeah.
Redacted.
Plagiarized.
It makes it
Plagiarized.
easy to do the update. Just cut, delete.
Oh, brother. And there's 2 events. So at 7, over at the Chamber of Commerce, which is not that far, just turn left over there on, was that 200? They're
It's
on
about 200,
right?
yeah.
Or 100. They're on
Yeah.
100 East behind Angelica's at the Chamber of Commerce building. Publishing and Marketing, Liz Adair. How to self-publish through print, ebooks, and audiobooks. That's something I forgot. Audiobooks. So
Yeah.
that's a big thing these days. Everybody's listening. Everybody's, for lack of getting chewed out for this, everybody's lazy. Everybody wants to listen. But if you can get on audiobooks, you get your stuff published, quote unquote, published on audiobooks. Man, you're covering
Well, and
lots of ground.
if you're going from St. George to Mesquite and you get stuck, where they're doing
And the gorge.
the gorge where they're doing the construction, you can go through an entire book.
Yeah, sure. A novel, War and Peace.
Yeah.
Well, I use them if I'm going to Salt Lake or if I'm going to L.A.
Yeah.
I always put I get an audio
audiobook.
book from the library and or 2 because it takes a while to come back, and I listen to them all the way down there. It's a great way.
Now, I'd imagine that's a little tougher to get your book, quote unquote, published. I don't know what you call it when you put it on audio. Is it the same? You're getting it published, or what do they do? What's different?
It is published. It has a separate ISBN, International Standard Book
Right.
Book Identification Number. Usually, some people do their own.
Do their own
voice.
narration,
Yeah,
right?
other people hire talent. But what we're hearing in the self-publishing world is that gives you the edge. If you have an audible version of your book, that can push the sales.
Yeah, the last book I read and listened to was Art of the Start by Guy Kawasaki, which he was the chief evangelist for Apple and Canva, really knowledgeable, and very sarcastic kind of a guy. And the guy that he had narrate was equally as sarcastic, which made it all the more interesting for me to listen to, But yeah, I think that's a big market. It's got to be a big market, but again, you have to have something that's interesting enough, I would think, for people to want to listen to, It's all marketing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So they're going to talk about how to self-publish, print, ebooks, Kindles. That's another thing, Print is...
There's a whole science to that one. You can do things with Kindle where they lock you in and you cannot publish an ebook on any other platform. Liz will talk about that. So
Yeah.
there's a bunch of different ways to do ebooks, and you got to make sure that you don't get stuck.
And Chris is exactly right on that, which is why I'll be there at Liz Adair's thing, because she knows all those ins and outs. And you can get stuck where you can't get your stuff out because you're stuck in one place, and she's going to help
You
us
have an
understand that.
exclusive with
It's like
one
music.
publisher.
It's like
Yeah,
music.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
You get in with the wrong guy and he locks you in, and you kill your sales, you kill your publicity, you kill promotions because
Exactly.
you're stuck with one person.
And Liz is going to help us through that. So that's kind of
Not
cool.
that that's bad, because there could be some that if you get with the big kahuna, so to speak, and they market you well, it could be worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if that's always the case, but at least I know that with music. And I'd imagine it's probably similar with that. So, and then print, of course, the good old standby.
Well, what's new there probably your audience may not know this, but there's something called print on demand, which she's going to be talking about. And what that says is you're not carrying inventory. When somebody orders the book, it gets printed and then sent out. So
that's got to be
a huge,
expensive, though, wouldn't it be? I would think.
Well, the print runs are more expensive.
Sure.
But you're still probably talking $7-8 compared to, $3 for a
So
book.
somebody orders online, there's a little guy in a room waiting for it to come over, and he runs to the printer and prints it for you.
Exactly.
It's like a bunch of squirrels in there printed. elves, Santa's elves,
The print-on-demand squirrels. Yeah.
Yeah.
the PODs.
If you pay extra, you get that monk that
Yeah.
sits there and does all the really great
Yeah,
scrolls.
but from a business standpoint, business guy, you're not carrying any inventory,
Sure, which is probably less overhead.
which means you can park your car in the garage. You get it?
Never thought of that.
Yeah.
Never thought of that.
That's pretty funny.
Never thought of that.
Yeah.
But I have a good buddy, Adam Gottstein, who lives in this tiny little town of Volcano, California. His mother owned Volcano Press for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And they printed books about women's rights and helping women get out of abusive relationships. All the things that, she focused on were around that sort of stuff. And they printed all through the 70s and 80s. And when she retired, he was finally able to park his car in the garage.
So I wasn't just joking.
No, it's true.
Yeah,
It's true, because you're it, man. You are the
You're the-
distributor.
yeah.
You are the marketer. You are the publisher. You are the storage.
Yeah.
You could rekindle your romance with your wife once you can get her car in the garage. I'm sure of it. Okay, so that is Wednesday. That's Wednesday, October 9th, 6 to 7 p.m. Naomi Sawyer, Chuck Sale. 7 to 8:30, Liz Adair. The first one's at the St. George Main Library, and walk a couple of blocks or get a scooter. Get one of those scooters, go around the corner, Chamber of Commerce. I imagine it's going to be in the basement. They have
It is. You got to go through the side door.
Yeah, so you park on the side of the building as you're facing. They have the little downstairs parking area down there. Thursday, October 10th, nonfiction memoir, Dorothy Solomon. It says as part of the ICL lecture series. What's that?
ICO stands for Institute of Continued Learning. It's through Dixie State,
Okay.
and it's non-credit classes that they offer to retirees and senior citizens.
Oh, very cool.
And it's a very cool kind of thing.
Now, speaking of Dixie State, since they're involved with a lot of this, can students get credit for things going to events like this? I'd imagine.
I got a note from Sue.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Thanks,
So
Sue.
we were worried about our enrollments tonight because, when I used to teach, I used to require students to go to lectures.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Same thing with music. The music students have to go to different jazz events.
And we're hearing that some of the faculty members at DSU did require them to attend the lecture tonight.
So we'll
so
see.
we will have some students there.
Kids, get out.
Yeah.
Get out and go to these
Yeah.
things. It's credit. Make your mom happy. Make your mother proud. Go to these things. So she is Make Your Life Story Real Like a Novel. That sounds pretty interesting, actually. Mine's more like a short story, short tragedy. That's the DSU, the Udvar Hazy Building. Is that how you say that?
Yeah,
It's
you
Hazy.
did it,
Udvar.
but it's Hazy.
But it's Hazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know it's spelled hazy, but it's pronounced
pronounced
Hazy.
Hazy. We got that from
Udvar Hazy.
from Robert. Told us that.
Yeah, so we were corrected the first time we said hazy.
Yeah,
Room 121. If you know anything about the university, you'll know where it is. I have no idea where that building is.
Dorothy Solomon is a big nonfiction publisher. Done several books with major.
Is she local?
She was until just recently. She's now up in Salt Lake.
Gotcha.
But she's coming down
Very cool.
for this.
And she's one of our members, or she was before she moved to Salt Lake City, one of the Heritage Writer members.
Yeah.
And she's a published author as well. So
Yeah, one of her big books is Daughters of Saints, where she talks about her experience growing up FLDS.
Oh, boy. Okay.
yeah,
And
That's a hot topic.
in a polygamous, household up in the Sandy Canyons up in Sandy, Utah.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah,
So that's
in those compounds.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, and that's 7 to 8:30 in the Udvar Hazy Building.
that's that one right there.
It's the one
That's
to
the
south.
Hazy building.
Yeah.
Right up there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Just
walk
out
there
the
from
parking
here.
lot and to the right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So for those of you out there, just walk out of the parking lot and turn right.
There you go. And that's till. And at the same time, there's another one going on at the same time, 7 to 8:30. Fiction and script writing. Julie Danes, How to Show Emotion, or Why Good Writing is So Freaking Hard. Is that true? Is it hard to write?
It's hard to write well.
Writer's block is a real thing.
I don't usually get writer's block, but I don't always write well, and that's what's really nice about the critique things. And this is one of the things she's going to tell you is how to put emotion into your page without saying she cried.
Right.
You know,
It's the
show us how she
versus
cried.
tell.
Gotcha.
So she's
Paint
going
a
to say,
picture.
you don't want to
Right.
tell, you want to show so that
You want to
can-
see her biting her lip or a tear just barely coming into the corner of her eye. Something like that is more literary
or the
than
chin
saying,
just starting to quaver
Yeah.
like mine is right now.
See, to me, that's the beauty of a book versus the movie. You know, you should always, in my opinion, you should always read the book first. Because when you go to the movie, you get a preconceived notion of now what the book is going to see, and you see it, and you either go, well, that's not what I saw. Well, if you'd read the book first, you would see that that's how it should have been, because in your mind, you see exactly as it should be. And if the writer's any good at what they're trying to convey, you picture it immediately. And then you go to the movie, and you're like, well, that was a waste of $15. Right? It's true.
yes. And
yeah.
this is just another example of someone who's a top flight writer and is going to help us learn how to do our craft better.
That's at the Book Bungalow. That's the new Book Bungalow. It's in Green Gate Village. That's Tanya, I believe.
Tanya
Yeah.
Mills.
She's a great lady.
Yeah, she
Sweetheart
is.
of a gal. She's got a good thing going on there. And as far as I know, it's the only real bookstore in town.
Only independent
The
bookstore.
only independent bookstore. She's
Yeah.
doing a great job over there. You can actually go in, sit, and kind of peruse through her inventory, and sometimes she has cookies in there, which is why I go in.
Well, and she has an entire cabinet called the Writer's Cabinet, which is just books for writers. So people interested in, cool books on how to write a novel, how to write nonfiction. She's got a whole little section in there.
Very cool. So those are both, unless this is a misprint, they're both going on at the same time. So you're going to
They
have
are.
to pick
Yep.
which one you want.
That's right. That's right.
Tough choices here, people.
They're both excellent.
Friday, October 11th, which would have been my first wife and mine anniversary, 20-something years.
Happy not anniversary.
Yeah.
Happy
On
not anniversary, Brenda. she's a good woman. She just got remarried
Yeah.
Wow.
to a very nice guy
That's great.
named Ted.
Finally.
Finally.
Yeah.
I thought, after me, it's going to be hard to find somebody. Not so much.
Yeah.
She's
She's like, no, it wasn't that
she's like,
difficult.
I like
That
this
was
guy.
a mistake,
He's
yeah.
much nicer to me. Whatever. Friday, October 11th, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Publishing and marketing. So this is good because you have all sorts of things that you can see. It's not just somebody reading their book, not somebody pushing what they do, but they're giving you tips here
Right.
on how to make it as a literary artist, because it is an art. You're an artist, just like painting on canvas. You are painting a picture in people's minds with what you do. So, publishing and marketing with Jerry Barrowman, putting together a winning proposal for a non-fiction book. Winning proposal. So I'm guessing that you're trying to pitch this to somebody.
Yeah, it would be a document going to an agent or a publisher to try to get your book published. And you don't send them the whole book. You send them an excerpt and who your bio and that kind of thing.
Right.
And he's going to be talking about how to put that together in a way that works.
Yeah, the nonfiction one was a little different than fiction. Fiction, they want to see sample chapters and maybe a summary or a synopsis. But for nonfiction, they want an pretty much elaborate proposal that looks at the audience, the market. They want a table, pretty much an annotated table of contents.
Is it tough to get in front of these guys? Publishers? Is it tough to get your book noticed?
Well, you just did that. How was that? It went for you when you were up at the conference.
It's not as hard as it used to be. I mean, you have to, put everything, print everything off, send it off, in a postage with self-return, wait months. If you're into the writing world, at least for the League of Utah Writers, they will run several agents and authors and make them available to you at their annual conference.
So I was just going to ask. So
Yeah.
they have an expo or a conference where you have all these publishers and
Yeah.
people show up that are writing stuff and they schmooze the heck out of these guys, I'm sure.
Yeah. So you can actually meet. They had 8 separate agents and editors that were there this past August.
Now, you guys are from LA. I'm from New York. So we can say that. Does it help to know somebody in this business?
Of course it does. That's why I'm a failure. I don't know anybody.
Let me
My
share-
brother Jerry. Hey.
Let me share with my experience. So I met with a couple different people there, but one of them was an agent. And when we got done, she goes, "This is probably not my kind of stuff, but here's one of the persons in my agency that kind of looks at your type of mystery, and you need to write to them, mention my name, so it does help, to have a contact.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just like music, just like anything, just like dating. My sister just got a divorce.
Wow.
Awesome. Very cool. So Jerry Bowerman putting together a winning proposal. He'll show you how to make that happen. Now, what do we got here? During the festival period, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, children's book authors will be visiting different schools and students throughout Washington County. What's the purpose behind that?
That's the reading portion, which is run by Becky Johnson, one of our committee members, and she's going to have readers at all kinds of schools. I got a whole list of them here, elementary and intermediate schools, and they're going to go and read to these kids.
Just
They're
cool.
Children, middle grade, young adult authors.
That's pretty
that are
cool.
going
Yeah.
out and reading in schools.
So they're going to be out there. Of course, there's no charge that you're going to the school, and they've already arranged it all. So they're going to sit in the classroom and read to these folks.
Are they reading their works?
Yeah.
Oh, there.
Yeah, they're reading their own
Yeah,
works.
and we
Oh, very
made
cool.
a real special effort this year to kind of target homeschool parents. So there's some activities there for homeschool parents.
There's a lot of that here
Yeah.
in particular.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of families homeschool, and so which in Utah could be an entire school.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
I'm
dating a gal that has 6 daughters under the age of 16. If she were to homeschool, I would not go over there. I'm just saying. Anyway, and then of course Saturday starts earlier because it's Saturday. 9:30. You got registration and check-in. Everything happens at Dixie State that day. Correct?
Yes, in the Hazy building.
in the Hazy building.
In the Udvar Hazy building.
Yes,
In
I'm
the
sorry.
Udvar.
Get it
You got
right.
that
If you're going to print it, you got to say it, right? That's the School of Business building right behind us here.
Yes.
So if if you're on 1000 East, you drive in where the transformer is. I don't know how they're going to handle parking. I'd imagine it's.
I do know. I talked to the parking coordinator. Their policy is after 5:00 p.m. on weekdays it's free, and all weekend it's free.
Okay, so it's easy then.
Just
So,
pull in and park.
Yeah, this lot's lot K.
Lot K, yeah. And for me, the landmark is there's a power transformer right
Yeah.
off the street there. Just pull in there,
Yeah.
drive all the way to the end. The building's right in front of you. So it's just a little.
And there's no permit required on Saturday. So come on, park for free, and come on in. We're going to help you.
Yeah, or you can do like me during the week. You just leave the motor running, leave the blinkers on, and nobody bothers you. Yeah, no. So registration 9:30 to 10, 10 to 10:50. That's an odd time. Saturday keynote speaker Christopher Phillips, A Child at Heart. What is Chris speaking on?
Christopher Phillips, his big claim to fame is something called Socrates Cafe, which is a movement that deals with creating little clusters of individuals who are into philosophy, and they basically coffee clatches where they talk about philosophical questions. And then he's gone on beyond that because a lot of what he does involves meeting with all kinds of people. He apparently met with a bunch of kids and decided that that's an area that needs to be explored more, because we tend to lose our natural inquisitiveness as we go through the public, just not always public, could be like you guys did, parochial. You can lose your inquisitiveness.
Sure.
Inquisitiveness.
Because you're just
Word.
Yeah.
following what you're told, and
so
you lose your.
It's going to basically help the audience understand how you can get back to being a child at heart, and how that can help in terms of your creativity.
Gotcha.
And that kind of thing.
And then down below, we got about less than a minute here, so I want to make sure we cover everything. There's a bunch of different session tracks going on throughout the day, anywhere between 11 to 4 o'clock. The best way to do it is get to the registration if you want to be there on Saturday. It's in the Hazy School of Business building, 9:30. Again, you can Google St. George Literary Arts Festival 2019 or stgeorgelitArtsFest.org. It's all on there. Come on out. This sounds like a great event.
It's gonna be great.
If you want to hone your skills at writing, boys and girls,
Did we mention it was free?
it's free, everybody. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
you, Ed.
Appreciate it. You
Thank
guys
you,
rock.
I appreciate it.
Come on out. It starts today, goes till Saturday. We'll see you, everybody.
All right.